Hello. We just finished meeting for intonation practice on August 4th, Wednesday, August 4th. And we had some long sentences and some difficult words with RL combinations, so we didn't get very much done. And I will put all these that we didn't get done on the list for next Wednesday. So this one, it didn't have very many connections, so I didn't put it over in column B. Really, the only connections are I'm in, with the, and therapist door. It can be a T or a D, therapist door. So I'm in therapy working with a licensed therapist or counselor. It is a little unusual to have two stressed words right next to each other, but you have to have a pause in between them. So I couldn't say working with a licensed therapist or counselor. I have to say working with a licensed therapist or counselor. I'm in therapy working with a licensed therapist or counselor. And this one, it totally depends on your mood and your intention of how you want to sound. If you want to sound softer and more polite and less direct, you put the emphasis on think, because it's not totally sure. I just think. I think you are wrong. I think you are wrong. And instead of you are, it can shorten to just you're. I think you're wrong. But if you put the emphasis on wrong, now you're really putting the focus on being direct and not doubting yourself. I think you were wrong. I think you were wrong. You can say I think you're wrong. I think you're wrong. But be careful with that. If you emphasize just the wrong, then it could sound too direct and be too rude. So it all depends on who you're talking to and your relationship with that person. Do they know you're not accusing them of something, or you can tell them anything? They're your friend. So it depends. And this one, I learned that I had been pronouncing opaque with a G at the end my entire life. Opaque. I don't know why. I love opaque. I didn't mark all of these for which ones are stressed, because you have a list of adjectives before the turquoise. So they will start high and step down, down, down. But then within each one, you still have the word stress. And if you want to emphasize your love for this color, I love opaque, blue to green, mineral turquoise. I love opaque, blue to green, mineral turquoise. Da 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 da. She sighed deeply and sat down. She sighed deeply and sat down. The connections here are the same position, so you don't need to make any position changes between two Ds next to each other and the T and the D next to each other. So she sighed deeply. Don't release your D from sighed deeply. That would make extra choppy. She sighed deeply and sat down. Hold it there. She sighed deeply and sat down. It sounds like you've got the flu. It sounds like you've got the flu. And we talked about the difference. We do say a cold and the flu. I don't know why. You can say I have a cold, or I've got a cold. I have the flu. I've got the flu. I don't know why they're so different. And then it's on economic policy that the Democrats are most vulnerable. And vulnerable has a lot of movement between vulnerable. So between the L and the N, don't move your tongue. Vulnerable. And what was another one that was tricky? Maybe economic policy. It is on. There's a lot of connections here. It is on connects to it is on. It is on economic policy that the Democrats are most vulnerable. And we did a few words because this one came up with the first sentence, therapist or counselor. And we don't have to say the middle E like counselor. It can be just 2 syllables, counselor. And jail. The vowel is A. So remember the vowel diagram. You're starting in the middle position. Your tongue's kind of in the middle. Your jaw is pretty high. But then you rise to E. A. So the word jail. Once your tongue goes very high, excuse me, for the A, jail. And it slides down and makes a yell, jail. And it's the same vowel in rain. Rain. That's it. So we spent some time on the vowels and working on these difficult words, but everybody got to practice. I'm really glad. So thank you for coming, and I hope to see you again. And if you weren't here, I hope you get to join us next time. Thanks.